You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus, stand up. What you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward. Never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's a hit back with the hash of black. It's a hit back with the hash of black. It's a hit back with the hash of black. It's a hit back.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to the Hit Back. I'm your host, Nahaja Black. It is a beautiful day here in the 242. I hope that you are doing well, that you are taking care of yourself, that you are enjoying everything about today. And if you aren't, find something to laugh and smile about. Get yourself out of that negative space and into a positive space, because in those positive moments, in those moments where we experience joy, we need to hold on to them to remind us why it's worth moving forward, pushing on, always thinking of the next step to your greatness. Don't ever get caught up in not wanting to be better than where you are, who you are. There is greatness inside all of us. What is your ultimate, your excellent self that you see? If there's not a picture that you see of yourself, it's time to revisit your image and to look in the mirror and know that you are better, greater than where you are today. There is no ceiling on your capability. You are an unlimited human being. I truly believe that. So in your unlimited mindset, get to that space and just be wonderful. Just love yourself, man. Love yourself despite all your issues, despite all of the things you've done in your past. Have a moment when you say that I am great. I deserve to be loved. I am lovable. I can be better than I am today. And make amends if you need to make amends. That's one of the things I always tell people. If you know you need to make amends, make amends. What I love about doing this show is I get to bring on impactful people. You all know I love Dr. E. Dr. Drika Richardson has helped many of us. And, I believe that I know, we as human beings, we are more than one thing. You remember there's a book, The Alliance, The Allegiance? They're in this book. There's about factions, right? I'm trying to remember the name of the book. It's a trilogy by Veronica Beth. Love the trilogy. We've watched the movie, The Allegiance. For God's sake, I'll remember it later. Anyways, in this book, the whole concept is that when you're born, you are this thing, this thing, this thing, or this thing. You're in these things called factions. And those who were different, the divergent, they weren't just one faction. They weren't just brilliant academically. They just weren't physically strong. They weren't just, they were multiple things. And every human being, I believe, is more than one thing. You are not just a great speaker. You're not just a great teacher. You're not just a great doctor. You are more than that. You're not just a great mom. You have so many facets to who you are. So when we do the show with Dr. E, the purpose of it is that we got to find out all of the greatness that is in us, all of the ways that our relationships matter. So that's why I love to bring on Dr. E, because you cannot be great without people, because people are a part of the process of greatness. We live to serve people. That is in our greatness. That's our greatness. Now, I ain't talking about the indentured servant service. I'm talking about slavery and colonialization service. I'm talking about when you found that space, that gift, and you connect with people and you give of yourself. And as you give of yourself, you're being filled, because that giving is filling. And then if we're all in our greatness, someone is filling you as well. And that's why we do this show with Dr. E, because I want your relationships to be great. So today, because I tell you, y'all like Dr. E, boy, Dr. Drika Richardson is a superstar on the Hit Back. And as long as she's giving me semi-exclusive service, because she ain't exclusive, we could discuss that relationship. I better. She think I spot her all over the airwaves. Yeah, she was there first. I don't care. As woman, we just get jealous. I want to bring on the show today. We are talking about dating, do's and don'ts. Oh, Lord, what a time. I don't ever want to be on this field dating today. Y'all could keep all of that dating in this 2021. This Nassau dating ain't working for me. Dr. E.
Look, let me say, first of all, exclusivity. How do you know we're not poly? Like we may
Same
not
thing.
I say, yeah. And
Same
then on
thing.
top of that, I just want to say that, you know, you
Mm-hmm.
have dibs. So
Sipping my tea.
it's all about your placement in the order. So look, because you know some people who don't have main titles doing better than the originals. But anyway, let's not talk about
Hey.
Hi, and thanks for having me back. I so love coming on your show. I'm so excited after we got that fan mail. Now I feel like we really started to do some stuff.
Oh, wait. I
We
brought
got
the
more?
letter home. No. I was
Oh,
supposed to. I wanted you to have it, so we're gonna have to do this. I
feel like I need to like frame that too, and I
You
just want to
do.
tell we accept fan mail, so
We do
please
accept fan.
address all of them and send them to the back.
The hit back, in care of the hit back for Dr. E. That's what you just so that you know. And I must say, the letter and it was, the letter was well written. E, I have to let you see this letter. I wasn't able to give it to you in your hand, but I gotta let you see this letter.
But I gotta say something. That reminds us we really have to get better at mail, because that letter came to us from February and we just received it in June. So we really have to do better in this country, because there are some important things that are coming through the mail, and we need to receive those in a timely manner. So let's figure this out.
Let's figure it out. I thought we did, but we moved to the town center mall. But we digress.
So this is why we're talking today about dating, because you started it out talking about exclusivity or not, and dating in Bahamas, and we know that. I always tell people when you've been around the world dating, you realize how different we date here, and I mean specifically in the Bahamas. I can't even just say the larger Caribbean, because I feel like we date here completely different. I don't even think a lot of us even understand what dating means. Because I have to have this conversation over and over with friends, family members, even clients, about what do you define dating as? Because I think we almost go from this place of, oh, I look at you, you look at me, we like each other, and now we're supposed to be together. And I'm like, whoa, buddy. Like, let's back it up a little bit. Because really what it is that I find you attractive, you find me attractive, let's get to know each other. And then from getting to know each other, and I may be getting to know several people at the same time, which is all okay, because that's actually what dating is. Getting to know different people and then choosing which person you want to have exclusivity with. Then from the exclusivity part, you might just date them exclusively for a while, and then that may turn into a long-term relationship. Hopefully it turns into, if the person wants a committed long-term relationship, they want to get married, they want to be poly, like, whatever they want to do. But
you like this word poly. I gotta watch you. You and poly. So,
I am starting to realize that there is a lot more of that happening. I think it's because I've been talking about it a lot with some client systems lately, that it's really made me, it's like on the forefront of my brain.
Okay, explain to folks polyamorous, right?
Yes.
Explain to folks what that is.
Anything that starts with the word poly in front of it means multiple, so more than one. And so when we look at polyandry, polyamory is for the women. So we need to learn that term. Okay, that's when there is one woman with several different suitors. I will call it that. And any people, there are different versions of it, but really the true is there is one like main relationship, and then there is an invitation of other people into that main relationship. Polyamorous people tend to have rules, so they have understandings as to what you can do or can't do with certain people, and it's always the main relationship's decision. Now there are some, I know we have those shows on TV that have versions where, because it's polyamorous and it's male driven, that only that person's deciding. But again, it always comes back to the couple. What do you want to do together? Yeah. And so I think that, believe it or not, that's a huge population here.
Polyamorous folks.
Polyamorous. And then we have the Lat community, which I think I mentioned before on the show, which is another growing version of dating.
Wait. It's a what community?
Another growing community.
What's the name of the community?
Lat. living apart together.
Oh, you too slick. You can't be just throwing around, abbreviations and stuff.
Yeah, so
Acronym.
a lot of people, I was introduced to this very recently by clients, and it's a thing. Like people who are in exclusive relationships and they just don't ever live together. And some of these people are married. So when we talk about dating and relationships, the interesting part is that you get to decide the rules for your dynamic. You don't have to listen to anybody's rules. But I think today in the show, we're going to focus a little bit more about those who are merging from, because we left off singleness, right? So we're going to merge from going from singleness to now you decided that you want to get out there and you want to start dating, especially now that the world's opening up. You still got to connect safely. But you want to get out there and, you may want to go out to a karaoke night or take yourself on a date and, look cute and grab some numbers while you do it. And guys, let me just tell you, when you go and you dress up and you put on a nice level of cologne, not the whole, like, I don't need to smell you
from down the street.
Oh my gosh.
The Axe commercial has men believing once you spray it on, they come, once you
look. And some of those scents just remind me that you belong in a nursing home. So please be mindful of that.
Don't hate on Brute. Don't hate on Brute.
That is? Well, some of us have sinuses and allergy stuff. So let me tell you, I had a client once that came in the office and I smelt them before they came in and I couldn't do the session because I have sinuses and allergies. So this was before COVID and we weren't wearing masks. And I just couldn't because it was just like, this is like
overpowering. But Brute is good, but I know it's old school. Brute is old school. Yeah. I used to love to smell my dad wearing Brute cologne. That was like that's how I knew a man was around.
Okay, so this is kind of a funny, but not funny because now I don't think the person's listening, but personal joke. I think when we date, we have names for different suitors, right? And I used to have this one that was kind of called mothballs. Because I don't know what mothballs smell like, but for some reason I thought this person smelled like mothballs. That's what I imagined it, and I was like, "Yeah, this is not gonna work."
So your nickname for him was like in your mind, it was mothballs guy.
Like you smell like mothballs. Like I've never smelled them in my life, but this is what I imagined it, and I don't want nothing to do with it. So with that said,
I think we need to have a breaking news segment that you've never smelled mothballs in your life, E?
I don't think so, no. But I just imagine that's what it smells like. So I didn't want anything to do with that. But so I think it's important that we go. I have some tips, like 10 do's and don'ts. Some of them are mine and some from other therapists around the world.
Yeah, but hold on before you get to that, because I don't want you to get to the do's and don'ts yet until because I want that for sure. Define for me, because we've done this. Because we've talked about dating before, but this show is all about, because remember you would always say date your spouse, right? Mm-hmm. Go on dates. And you gave people watching as a date, right? And folks love that idea.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Actually, you're quite right. But I want to ask you, define for us dating.
Okay.
And from the, because like you said, many of us, we doing it, but maybe we don't understand it. Define for us dating. What is dating? What are expectations of dating? That sort of thing.
So dating, to give an official definition, it's a stage of romantic relationships that's typically, believe it or not, is only practiced in Western societies, whereby two people meet socially and their aim is to kind of assess the other person's suitability as a prospective partner for a future intimate relationship. Notice that, for a future intimate relationship. So there are parts to this. So when you're dating in a dating stage, and there's different types of dating, your goal is really to meet somebody socially, kind of analyze them and see whether or not your personalities match together, whether this person suits your needs. Can you have conversations with them? Because you're looking at them as a prospective partner that may turn into a future intimate relationship. Not everyone you're dating is necessarily going to be someone you want to have a future relationship with. We know that there are stages to dating, right? There's the online dating, which is huge right now. A client just told me this week, she signed up and she met a few. And I was like, well, look at you. It's summer, it's hot girl summer. So put yourself out there. Let's see what happens. And so, because I found too with my clients who are on dating apps, there's certain times of the year that dating seems to be better. And
A
I don't know,
dating
I
season.
talk about summer, something about
It's
summer.
dating season, and teachers off, everybody off. Everybody you could ghost a lot easier in summer, I guess.
Then there is, of course, we know group dating, where sometimes it's like a group of friends get together, and then you see who kind of the energies match up together. You have double dates, of course. The concept of where maybe smaller groups of people get together and just kind of introduce different people with the purpose of seeing the match. Speed dating. I don't think we've done one of those events in a while. I'd actually like to throw one of those. I gotta see how we could do that.
Oh, that'd be great.
Blind dating, where you set up a person with somebody else without ever seeing them before. And you know what? The fun thing we should try to get to with blind dating is try not to like Google your person. But then at the same time, you want to Google them because they may have a record or they might have like a whole family, and that's the only way to find out. So it's kind of one of those, yeah, but maybe do it from somebody you trust, right? Because my friends know me. And so when they set me up with certain people, they're like, so this one just for fun, right? They'll say stuff like that. There's casual dating, again, where you just like, you might go out one person today, one person tomorrow. I was watching this episode recently about it. And this show with this couple, this person would go on dates for food. Like there's a thing now where people date because they hungry. And so we gotta watch out for that because I don't need y'all to ruin my privileges. And then there's or exclusive dating. So there are different types of dating, and you just have to decide where you're at and what stage of dating you're into. Because like stage one to me is just the attraction, the romance stage, right?
Yeah.
Like I see you, you see me, and it's some type of energy, or I might even see you. I don't know if you've ever had, well, you've been married for a while, but if you ever had this happen where you talk to somebody on the phone and y'all just have great energy, and it's like
I was married my whole life.
So at some point you knew what that felt like.
At some point before the Civil War,
right? Then there's stage two, right? Where there's the reality phase, where there's kind of like this, I almost want to call it like a power tussle, where you're trying to see whether or not this is the relationship could happen, could this turn into something, because the attraction kind of wears off. Then there's stage three, where it's the exclusivity, the commitment part. And child, we can talk about that because these days people want to go from 1 to 3. They don't even want to get to know the person. Then 4 is usually the intimacy part of the relationship. And 5 is usually if you're going to turn this into some blissful love or some long-term engagement. But with every relationship, it's those are typical stages you see people go through. I think people, though, confuse stage 1 with something that is stage 3. And stage 1, again, is that attraction stage, right? Mm-hmm. And I tell clients, I like Steve Harvey's rule, believe it or not, the 90-day policy. Here's why I like the 90-day policy. Because hopefully by that time, you've decided and you've seen somebody in a little bit of different situations, and they've gotten so comfortable now that their character is starting to come out. Because then you can see them without looking with just glassy, romantic eyes. So you get a little bit more intuitive as to whether or not you want to exclusively date them. Because what we do is we kind of fantasize that attractive person and making them more than they are.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we kind of slow this down. This is why I think we don't necessarily date here, because we go from, like my guy was telling me recently about
2 phone calls to finish.
It's just like, first of all, you got my number. You're welcome. And then you go from you're like, we together. And I'm like, whoa. So
slow down, buddy.
I can think of right now. And one is an older client. And I love, this is why it was so cool, because she had admitted to me she never dated. So she went to college, met her husband, they got married, right? Mm-hmm. And so now, a few years later, they're divorced. happily, finding path with the kids and stuff like that. And so now she's dating. And then she was talking to me about this other person, like she was kind of interested in too. And I was like, why can't you date them both? And she was like, oh, Dr. E. And I was like, like, why can't you date them both? And she was like, how do you do that? I said, go on dates with both people and hang out with them. And if you feel the need to, the one you really like, you can let them know. But unless any of them you're in an exclusive relationship with, you're dating. And so she came in last week and she was like, you'd be so proud of me. She was like, I am dating. And I was like, oh, yeah. So we add a third one. Now she's like, hold on now.
Calm down.
But she's having fun with it. So
yes.
And what that person's finding out is that, this person, I like them for these particular reasons. And I like myself with them. But I also like this person for particular reasons. And we'll get into that because I want to actually have a conversation part about that. And then I have this other client who, she's younger. So she's in, so that person was like almost 50. And this person is in their like mid-20s. And she had just gotten out of a relationship. And I was like, well, since you've been on your break for a minute, you want to start dating again? She was like, well, I don't know. And I was like, okay, let me know. Next time she came in, she was like, this person want to take her out. The next person want to take her out. I was like, well, go out and date them. She's like, how do you do that? I was like, you eat with one. And then you take it. Next day you eat with the next person. She was like, you can do that. I said, yes. We have to get in the idea that dating means that you're getting to know. But
men do that easier than women. Like men do that all the time. Why is it that we as women have to ask if it's okay? And I'm happy we're doing this.
Yeah.
Because I think that this is important. Men have no problem.
None.
Dating or talking to multiple women at the same time. Right. And I don't know. Well, I've been out a little while. I don't know if I were single. I remember true story, trying to decide who I was going to do I want to do a relationship? I remember one time, no joke, I had two fellas show up to my house the same time, right? Both were interested in me. I'm not interested in anybody yet. I think everybody's, they're cool.
Yeah.
And I introduced them. How you doing? Okay, welcome. This is, everybody got to start peeing at the tree stump now. Who gonna mark territory? Needless to say, neither one cut the mustard. But
hello.
I thought, to me, I was like, well, I don't know. You weigh your options, right? You weigh your options.
You should. And we also got to get that message. You know what it is? It's socialization. Because as women, we've been socialized from a very young age to be very protective of men, to be very, sometimes even, I want to say docile to them.
Yeah.
And so we don't understand it. I work on this sometimes I had to work on this with myself too, because when I moved to the States for a bit and I learned how to date, that's when I figured out how to date, because someone will call you, they want to pick you up, they want to open doors. I was like, I thought that stuff only happened on Hallmark, right? And so, and then there was other people who wanted to date at the same time. And I was like, oh, this really does exist. Like you can do this. And I think that's exposure, right? So then I had to come and have that conversation back with my intrapersonal self and say, you know what? Do you want to date, or you just want to, what am I looking for at this time? And I just wanted to get to know some people and see if any of them I really vibed with. And I think we need to make sure we tell our daughters that it's important to get to know people, right? You don't have to just because you start and you like this one person. Why can't you like this one person because you're attracted to them and like another person? We have to change the mentality that when we're dating, we automatically assume people are sleeping together or having
you hit it.
Yes, and that's what it is. And it's
I think we assume that dating is sleeping together, right? And I think a part of dating is to successfully date, you must be a person with self-control as well. Like you must be in control of yourself so that you know that there are boundaries. There's a purpose for it. We're getting to know each other. I'm just, before I give you the goodies, we got to just, just make sure this makes sense. Or maybe, listen, I feel like doing it today, but I don't believe in random sex. I ain't
no?
I'm not a random sex person. I can't do it. I'm not an advocate of random sex. I can't do it. Just because my whole thing is, dude, I don't know you, but what?
You know what? Because I'm trying to empower women and empower men and empower people to have their control of their own bodies. You just need to do what works for you and be as safe as possible doing whatever works for you. Because if you've ever been on vacation and the tequila hits you right, some things may happen, and I don't want you to like be mad at yourself because it happened, because we get that message that you're like the bad person if you did this, or you're not good enough anymore. And because I deal with that a lot in session with clients, like the messages they've gotten through socialization for like one-offs. And so
those one-offs. Listen, some of these people know they don't fool. You're feeling guilt because you're shaved. Repent. I'm just kidding. That's my Baptist in me now. Coming out. Hold on, Dr. E. Take a break. I'm ruining Dr. E's session. We'll be back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We're talking about dating right here with Dr. E. We will be back after this. And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Dr. Drika Richardson joining us. We are talking about dating do's and don'ts. And I just went all gospel on her. Presbyterian, Baptist, evangelical. You
can put your hand on me, shunda.
Hey, rocka.
But you know what? Maybe this is why I like modern churches, and I'm calling them modern churches because the ones that really have the conversations with their congregation about dating and sex and relationships, because they realize that some of the messages from the past need to be relatable. I'll put it that way, right? And they need to be honest about what it looks like. Because the worst thing you could do is have people going to you and looking for information or direction. Mm-hmm. And the only messages you're giving them is just don't do it. Just don't do anything. Mm-hmm. And people, I really hope the leaders in those ministries take that seriously, because those messages have gotten a lot of my clients into some mental health issues within their relationships, because they battle between what they know and what's true. And so I try to tell them, you know what, don't even take my advice. Go pursue the information on your own. Go read it, go research it, because I could tell you something, but you really have to take control of this for yourself. Your views of how what you've learned, what you've come to know now makes sense for you, because we beat ourselves up enough.
Yeah. Well, so here it is. I don't know if I would date someone, because that's my thing. How do you know someone? How do you actually know if you know this person if you get to sex so early in the game, right?
Like, no. Let me stop you right there, because I know clients who literally were actually I know a friend. She's a colleague. She met her now husband, and they were married within 3 months, and they've been together now over 30 years. And then I know somebody who was dating for 3 years and they were divorced in 3 months. Right. That's true. So when you think about it, I know people who married their one night stand, like the person who's supposed to be their one night stand who just didn't go away.
That's a soul connection.
Right. And so what I've learned by those situations is there is no one size fit all. So you have to decide for you, like, if you're choosing to engage in those sexual behavior with a person, are you strong enough to still analyze and go through and feel for yourself, is this the right fit? Is it just not body fit? Is this the right fit for me? And so some of us have it and some of us don't. And I'm going to tell the truth. Some of us have and some of us don't, because I've met women who can hit it and quit it like the best.
See, that's what I'm saying. Are you strong enough to know, like, when we do this is all it is? And what if are you good enough? Are you strong enough to know that, hey, if we have sex, it may not lead to anything? Like, that's all I want. Like, to make sure your mind is right, so you don't end up more damaged. Be in control of yourself. Like, know what you're doing.
And I know women now who will say that to you, like, look, you are this person for me, and that's the person you are for me. And it is what it is. And I know men who are honest enough will say that too to their women, right?
Exactly.
And so I just feel like people have to be honest about where they are and what they want at a point. I think we avoid conversations because we just don't want to deal with it. But at the end of the day, we all grown. So if you engage in sexual practices, you have to be grown. It comes with a lot of stuff. And so this is why we have to know but do's and don'ts for dating, because we just have to get to this place of understanding why. Okay, so let's go. Number one.
Do's and don't of dating with Dr. E.
The don't convince yourself you have only one type.
Oh.
It says do widen your definition of a compatible mate. Open yourself to the possibility that you can fall in love with someone who doesn't perfectly meet the criteria you believe is your ideal type. And let's talk about this for a minute, because I absolutely think that's true. I have seen, and shoot, some of the dating I've been, my friends is like, your type ain't working. Like, just like the ones who you ain't sure about. I bet you some may work out. Because we all have a type. We have patterns in how we do things, right? Mm-hmm. Literally, my cousin messaged me last night. Was like, I just see a type for you. I try to take a picture. I was like, wow.
Yes, we have a type.
Wow. We have a type. Yeah. Send a picture through though. So we all have a type. But I think beyond the physical type, we need to get to the other criteria and see if there's anything within that other criteria that is malleable at all. I know I have a non-negotiables list, but as I get older, the things on the list kind of fall off to what are my important things on there, right? What are my non-negotiable deal breakers that I can't live without? And then the other things I've said, like, you know, things like maybe height, or things like just being able to, there's certain things that mean more, like mental stimulation. So I would tell people, well, just widen it. You never know who you'll meet, because I've gone on some dates with some people who I never thought at first would be a connection, and then it turned into something. So number two, don't be overly critical or judgmental.
So hold on. Remind me again, before we get there, Dr. E, what was number one? Don't
convince yourself you only have one type, but do widen your definition of a compatible mate.
Okay. All right. Number two.
Don't be overcritical or judgmental, but do approach others with curiosity. That's my favorite word, curiosity, kindness, and compassion. Because, you know what we do at the end of the day? We prematurely dismiss someone and give them a one-way ticket out just by one thing. And sometimes, you know, there are people who have anxiety. So when they meet you the first time, they're awkward. Oh my gosh. Did I ever tell you about the guy I went on a date with that profusely kept sweating? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. They're probably listening. That was, so there are some things like you just want to remain curious, because honestly, what you could have done is, like, within that first couple minutes, you might have been like, you know what? Like, sir, this is a lot. I'm just going to end this. But, you know, I went through it and I realized that this person was, you know, interesting. Might not go long term, but this is interesting. And you remain curious to ask them some questions and get to know them beyond. We like to let that one little thing, like, turn us off. But if it's not a big deal, ask yourself, is this a big deal for me, or am I just being nitpicky, like our parents used to say? All right, number three. Don't come on too strong. Watch yourself for behaviors that could be, like, construed as needy or desperate or unstable or anything that's just undesirable. Do, though, respect the natural progression of intimacy. Here's what I mean by that. If you telling somebody who you think may be a potential person for you, how much you really like them, that adds a lot. But if you're overdoing it, it becomes unnecessary and it feels like pressure. Like if I'm not there yet and you keep telling me how much you're there, that's a big turn off. Like I put up a meme yesterday. I sent it to some of my friends. It's like, nothing is more annoying than someone you don't like because they always into you. Like they doing the most, right? But you just don't like them. Like they are doing the most. So you just want to let things happen gradually. Like I have I had a client who was telling me about this guy. Like she really, like he was just he was just too much. And some guys, y'all could sometimes come on too strong when it's been a minute. Like just calm down. Like if she picks up your phone call, she into you because you know she just ain't gonna pick up the phone call. So we really need to reel that back in and make sure that we are not coming off too strong, too needy. Like ain't nothing like a needy person because that is just be like
okay. Let's do that. Let's dive into this a bit. Let's dig into that one right there.
Okay.
The needy or the extra person, right? The doing the most, doing too much. Help me understand what that means, right? Because sometimes us ladies, we want that. We say we want that. When it happens, though, all of a sudden, I think men get confused. Well, I think women say they want us to show them attention. How long? Is there like rules when we're dating? If we just went on a date last night, I like you, right? I think you like me. Should I call you right after? What are the rules? Because I think that's the next thing too. What are the rules on the interaction after the first date? If I like you,
right?
Shouldn't I call you? Because if I don't call you, for us as women, if you don't call me right away, and I like you, I have a problem.
I hate that 3-day rule thing. I hate it. Like people have this 3-day rule. Like when you get a number, you shouldn't call for like a couple days or something.
That's dumb.
I think it's dumb. Right. I think it's a dumb thing because if like, I think I told you this before and I think I've said on a show or maybe I haven't, I have dating ADHD, right? So if you wait 3 days, I can be like, who's this? So if you like somebody, just call them. And please call or text initially and then call. Like I was chatting with somebody recently and they had said to me, yeah, it was enough texting. I need to call, right? And I thought, you know what? That's some girl stuff. I said, that's some real mature stuff right there. But I think that if you went on a date and the date went really well, I could see you texting somebody after you drop them off or after you guys leave and saying, I really enjoyed this. I hope we get to do this again on Tuesday, on Friday, whatever it is. Or you could pick up the phone and say, hey, I just wanted to call to say goodnight. I really enjoyed this. I think something cute, short, to the point. Yeah. Perfect. Don't be trying to have a whole conversation. Or maybe y'all stay on the phone all night. You never know. But see how the flow goes. Sometimes it's better to leave somebody kind of like in that mode and not really exhausted. And then at the same time, let's say y'all went on a date and you still like the person, but you're like, okay, I want to wait a minute. I would say call or text the next day if it was good. You do not be having somebody wait a whole week to figure out or guess what you're trying to do, because let me tell you, it's summer.
Yeah. And I think you get a sense of it, right, Doctor? We're talking about dating do's and don'ts with Dr. Adrika Richardson. We're on the one where it says, don't come on too strong, right? Don't come on too strong. Here is the thing, even with that, like I think you can tell, if you couldn't tell by the end of the night, right? Maybe you walked away saying we really had a good time and he or she were like in their head, I'm not doing this again, right? And some people can fake it. So you literally could have walked away from that date thinking that was a really great date and you are interested, you want to talk to that person again, and then you make the call, right? And I'm thinking by that call or the response from that call should give you an indication too, whether or not that date went as well as you thought it went.
Look, right? If you call afterwards and the person will pick up the phone or call you back within a few hours period, it ain't you, buddy. It just ain't you.
And if they missed your call and they were like to work or busy, they would at least say, busy, we'll call you later.
Thank
No.
you. That's your indication that he or she is just not that into you. But I think I talked to somebody about this the other day, which is by that call after the date, you should let the person know, hey, I had a good time, but I'm not seeing this. And I think that's
adult.
Say that. Now, let me tell you this. We know our people in our country is get all in their feelings. Let's be honest to my people. Just because someone is telling you they're not interested, stop getting all in your feelings like you feel like your parent rejected you.
Yeah.
It's like we need to be more mature than that, okay? Everybody's just not for you. And somebody could say to you respectfully, this is not my vibe, and you should be able to respect that. You can't be that immature to think that everyone's going to be into you, okay? Some people just don't, they just don't feel it. And so I think I would like to get that across, because I've even seen some stuff on social media lately where people were being harassed, right? By people who just didn't respect their boundaries or respect the fact that they just wasn't interested anymore. I feel like if you're in my DM and I left you there and you saw that I saw it and I didn't say anything, that is not a hint. That is an indication that I'm just not interested.
Your phone didn't break after being seen.
I am not so hard to get. I am not interested. Okay. Number 4, don't forget the traditional rules of dating. But it says, do be a gentleman or a lady. So don't forget.
Say that again.
Don't forget the traditional rules of dating, but do be a gentleman or a lady. So some rules of dating have stood the test of time, right? So we do live in a very much a modern world in which women can pay for themselves and open their own doors. But it's nice that a man foots the bill for a dinner date, or ladies shouldn't try to just be one of the guys, right? I think it's very important. I had a client tell me she went on a date the other day, and I guess the guy said to her ahead of time, hey, I'm going to come pick you up. And it was in here. So I'm going to come pick you up. They're in Canada right now. I'm going to come pick you up. We're going to go I'm going to park the car in my parking garage, which is like around the corner from the restaurant. We'll go to the restaurant. I'm going to pay for the restaurant so you can Uber back home. I said to her, okay. I thought that was a little fair because you live a ways away. But the person was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And I said, well, then that may not be the person you want to date, or you need to say that up front. Like, I want you to do it all. And so we have to communicate about that. I think it's so cute and I don't need to say cute. I love to see when people are still doing some traditional stuff, like chivalry should never die. Never, never, never die. Those little gestures like opening doors. I remember one of my exes actually taught me this. It was like, don't touch a door ever. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, don't touch a door. I need you to stand there like your hand broken every time. And that message never came out of my head. Like, I will stand there now
and just wait.
And just wait. Looking like, so it's good. And I say thank you. That's the other part.
Yeah, you say thank you.
To do that. I say thank you because I understand what you're doing. And the other thing I like to see is that if you ask me out, I'm this type of person. If I ask you out, I'm paying. If you ask me out, you need to pay. So I do think it's okay for women to pay for dates, because if you're
paying for my date. That's all I'm saying. You're paying for my date. That's where I'm at.
Right, but see, everyone's different. Like now, I may not offer to pay for like the first couple times, and I ain't even pretending to have alligator hands. Like
no.
I sit right there. That was nice.
But isn't that a part of it too? Listen, I think too, as women, we kind of size up, are you able to take care of me?
Exactly.
In dating as well. Like that's, and I don't want, brothers, I just want y'all to get it. A woman is looking to be taken care of. She may have her own, but she still wants that. So I don't want y'all to get caught up all day, always like, shut up. Yes, that's a part of your role. Can you man up and do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? She doesn't, you're not looking for a gold digger, because a woman should be building you up as well. But know that she is looking to see, can you pay for dinner? Can you pay for dinner? If you can pay for dinner and you're struggling, boo, I know. I can't. That's just me.
So, look, I saw this meme that was up and I was looking at it. It says, I don't look for a man to provide for me financially, but I'm also not looking to deal with a man that can't provide. right?
That's
So,
right.
and a lot of women right now are very much in a place where they don't mind. They have their own stuff, but they don't necessarily, they're not attracted to someone who can't match that same energy because it took a lot of energy to get to that place. So I think it's only fair that somebody matches that. And at the end of the day, I think it is, if I worked hard for my stuff, I'm gonna need to see you working just as hard, because then you want me to be submissive, right? Submission says that I would submit to somebody who can lead, and you lead me by your actions with your ability to provide and take care of. I can't submit to somebody who can't lead.
I can't. I have to, and it has to be something where, for me, submission is a gift. It isn't something that is automatic. It is it's a sign of respect. If I submit to your leadership, that means I respect who you are. I trust that you are going to lead us in a positive place, and I can trust you with me. And I think men need to get that. A woman isn't supposed to submit like an animal or a dog. You can bruise a dog. You can train a dog how to submit out of fear. But submission in a healthy relationship is one of trust.
It's a choice. Yeah, because I chose you. I chose to trust you, and I will follow this. I think
until
otherwise.
That's right.
People just are, you can't automatically assume because we're dating, I'm automatically going to submit to you. That does not go hand in hand. I need evidence of these practices. So if I haven't seen you deal with a difficult situation, I haven't seen you take care of your financial stuff, if I haven't seen you treat other people a certain type of way, like, I'm going to feel like, I don't know if this fits for me. And so we really need to get that. And the idea of submission is, you ain't got to beat somebody over the head if they want to submit, you know.
That's right.
And even the most, we've said this on the show before, the most alpha female, even the most alpha female is willing to submit to somebody who can lead, because you know what, we're trusting you and we know that you got this, and we have no problem with respecting you. That don't mean don't confuse the fact that our mouths are sassy. That don't mean we won't go along with it. Every woman I know is willing to submit, but submission is a holistic process, because if I submit to you, you have to submit to me too. I just can't submit to you blindly.
That's right. Anyway. That's right. And you hit some word. That was a word. I heard the church say amen.
Okay, let's go, because I know I don't run out of time. Number 5, don't be overly influenced by expectations of friends and family, right? Because, you know, we have those things that are saying.
Hold on, say that one again. Say that again. Say that again.
Overly influenced by expectations of friends and family, right? Because they'll tell us, you know, if that person, if she doesn't practice the same religion, or they're not the same ethnicity as you, or they don't have the same education status or stuff, sometimes we will automatically eliminate people. So you do, though, want to find balance with considering the opinions of others while staying in touch with your own intuition regarding compatibility. Because at the end of the day, you need to acknowledge your needs, your wants, and it's more likely that you'll have a long-lasting relationship if it's on your terms, because you got to ditch your laundry list, right? And if you're doing it because I've had people do this, they broke up. I don't know if you remember when we talked about a few shows back with the person who wouldn't date the exotic dancer because of what their parents said. But we got to get to the truth. And at some point in life, whose expectations is it? Because there are some, I have very successful exotic dancer clients who are very successful lawyers and doctors and other entrepreneurs of the world. So I'm just saying, don't let somebody determine it. And when it comes to financial status too, education doesn't necessarily determine that, because my student loan's still there, sir. So we got to put things in perspective. So that's just it. Don't let
another one. So don't be overly influenced by the expectations of friends and family.
Yes.
Okay, but let's hit on that before we go to break, because we got to go to break. Just to narrow that down, to get an idea of that one, right? What about when you have your friends or your family, they, you know, and I guess that's what your point is, with mommy and daddy saying, listen, you got this doctorate degree. What you doing talking to this fellow who's a mechanic? Right?
Look,
that's a real thing where people think that they're not at your level because of things.
Things. But I'll say this. I know mechanics who work on exclusive cars or build build your own automobile things from ground up. You know how much those cars cost?
Oh,
shoots. One of those guys can pay off all of my students' loans. So we have to think of things in perspective. And because somebody is a blue collar worker and you may be a white collar worker, don't let that determine anything, because at the end of the day, they have a skill set. And let me tell you, all of us learned last year in this pandemic, y'all white collar people didn't have no jobs while all the blue collars was out there working. So you need to get things into perspective. And so I have a friend. She will not date anybody who does not have at least a bachelor's degree. And you know what? That's her preference. Not to confuse preferences, right?
Yeah.
You can have your preference. But at the same time, I told her all those degrees she's looking at, none of them turned out to be anything worthy. And when she started to open that up and she started to, expand her expectations, she was able to find somebody else, right? And so what I'm saying at the end of the day, you might want to get to know some people first, but I'm not saying to ignore your preferences, because preferences are a lot. Like, attraction is attraction. I tell people that all the time. Is that I like you, I don't. I can't fake it.
Yeah. I like it. We got Dr. Edrika Richardson joining us on the Hit Back. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more from Dr. E. Special guest joining us, of course, on the show. My girl, Simone Elbow, limitless life coach, author, director, boss move, singer extraordinaire. Listen, everything you want to put there. And she is joining us in this discussion. My good friend Jonathan Edgecombe is supposed to be joining us. I haven't seen him yet, so I don't know how black. You know how y'all Bahamians go. Y'all don't show up nowhere on time. Nowhere on time. Y'all black people. I don't know, boy. I need to have some of my Caucasian friends so they can show black folk how to be on time. I'm just kidding. That was just not a good joke. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this. And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Dr. Edrika Richardson. We're talking about the dating do's and don'ts, but joining us now from wherever she is in the wonderful land of the Bahamas, we've got my good friend. Well, let me bring on Dr. E. Dr. E, what number were we on?
We are about to go to the last half, so we're number 6.
Okay. And we're going to bring on
our guest.
I'm super excited as well. The one and only Simone Elbow. How are you?
Hugs. I'm doing well. I was battling the elements to get on here, so I ain't taking your shade for being late.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that. Use my people. We understand how this goes. Simone Elbow, so happy to have you on. Simone, so we've been covering with Dr. E, we're talking about dating do's and don'ts. And the reason why I'm so happy that you're on, you and I have done shows similar to this one time when we were on with Dwight one morning. And that section of the show went very well. That was before I had my own show on Guardian, and Dwight used to use my talents early in the morning.
Listen.
Without free coffee.
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
The hospitality on Dwight's show is just, I don't know.
It's lacking. I don't even know what you'd be doing. Simone, you're supposed to teach him this. And then Dr. E used to go, she'd be dating Dwight all the time. She's dating Dwight.
All the grips.
This how rumors start in this country.
Just like that.
I know, right? Dwight, you know what? You can message me, and I'm sure we'll talk about this. And next time, I will have my tea on the show. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Well, anyways, I should be dating Dwight's radio show apart from my show. Okay, let me clear it up just so people know. But I need to get Dwight married anyway.
Already start. I'm probably on Bahamas News now.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
But we've had these conversations, right, Simone? We've talked about, expectations and so forth. So I was so excited when you said yes to joining me, because now Dr. E and I are going on the second half of the dating do's and don'ts. And I want your commentary on these as well, because you're going to add so much, context to this, because we're talking about dating in the 2021. And I'm stressed just thinking about all y'all who dating. I'm stressed for you.
Keep us in your prayers.
All right. So let's go, Dr. E.
Number six. Don't get lost talking about yourself and your past, including like your mistakes or your heartaches. When you were 10 years ago, and even in your last relationship, I don't know if you've ever been with somebody like this who just, from the moment you sit down, you ask them about themselves, they give you the resume versus like trying to connect with you. But do talk about yourself as who you are today, in the present, your values, your goals. I remember I went on a date with somebody sometime. I'm like, I put posts up like this all the time. If God wanted me to be your therapist, he would have let you come to me for therapy. But if you want to date me, I am here to be like courted and stuff. This is not a self-help book. Please go get one. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think that's true. We got to make sure that, especially first dates, right? The first like week or so, you get to, I think, a little bit of stuff, but you don't give the whole package. Like, I have exes. If they know who my other exes are, someone else tell them, because I know it wasn't me. Like, I would tell you about some situations or things I went through at certain points, but I ain't giving you the laundry list of all the information. That's just me. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Simone, your thoughts?
I totally agree with that, because I used to make that mistake, and you would think that you're trying to be transparent and open and all of this stuff, right? And you just doing this big dump on people, but you realize as you get mature that isn't really the best approach. Sometimes some of those things don't even need to be discussed. Sometimes you just talk about it in generalities, like situations, as Dr. E said. I went through this particular thing, or I overcame this particular thing. I went through this particular situation. This is how I grew from it. It really hurt, but so you want to keep it where you are now, as Dr. E said, because you don't want to be this fixer-upper DIY dater. That was the trap that I was in. No, seriously, because you mix up your profession and your calling with your dating life. So that I always used to just be drawn to projects, because I'm looking at their potential. And I wanted them to come into their potential. But you don't want to date someone where you have to coach and encourage and counsel all the time. Like, you want to be there for each other and support each other. Don't get me wrong. Right. And I remember just even talking to a friend. We were in a conversation, and he said, I started to get in like coach mode. And he was like, I don't need a coach right now.
Oh, wow.
And that was like, whoop. And it just showed me that even being as a friend, people want to know the difference. I'm dating. I'm not signed up for coaching or therapy, and I have not signed up to be your coach or your therapist. We want to relate on equal footing.
Yeah, no, that's deep. I like that a lot. And I'm doing this dating show because y'all know
you locked down.
You've been off the market, but you're still supposed to be dating your husband.
Well, I don't know. I still trying to figure out how that working out.
You better stop. You so in love.
I'm gonna call my sign on you, okay?
So I always just hear your voice. The movies don't count, but I'm like, but I like the movies. I like going sitting down in the dark, eating popcorn, our hands putting in the bowl together, and that's like I'm good.
Y'all be playing footsies. That's why you won't go away.
Yeah, footsies is a bit much because it's feeding, But Okay, but I like that though. Not getting caught up in the past. I think that that's a pretty strong one. Not getting caught up in the past. Talking about your past on a date. I think a lot of people do that.
Here's the thing. I had a client who's recently, she dated this person and they got sick and they passed away, right? This is one of her huge relationships. And then she met this person recently, like this is like 2 years post her incident. She met somebody and they just lost somebody. And I said to her, I said, look, when you go on this date, let's keep the conversation light and make sure you're not going on this date to be their help person through their grief and loss. And so she went, she said, they mentioned it for a minute, but they had a good date. Like they just had conversation. I said, good, because people, sometimes we trauma bond, right? So we find people who have the same type of patterns or histories, and that's what brings us together. A lot of people miss those trauma bond moments.
Yeah.
And I said, make sure that this is somebody you're interested in. Y'all just, because y'all connected over this, but do y'all actually like each other? Because that's not a healthy start to any relationship.
All right. Well, number 7.
Don't monopolize the conversation or make yourself the highlight reel. No one healthy or worthwhile being in a relationship wants to date a narcissist. Okay? Nobody's interested. Like pass that on to somebody else. Do make conversation reciprocal, be inquisitive, and show interest. And that's an important one, because at the end of the day, if you're only talking about yourself, you really need to date you. You don't need to date nobody else. So I'll leave that one right there.
No, that's a good one. I think look at Simone doing all kind of hand gestures, you know.
I just dropped the mic.
Because it's true though, eh? Like don't find yourself being that person where all you're doing is talking about your. Boy, people do that. People do that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do when folks do that? Like, what's the technique? Simone, have you been on dates like that? What's the technique?
Well, now for me, I'm a natural listener, so I think that's sometimes a problem, because I automatically go in that listening mode, and I'm doing all the gestures and whatnot, and quite frankly, I just get tired of trying to insert myself in a conversation. So that's usually when you would draw that occasion to a close very quickly. Because nobody wants to fight to talk, and it's only a sign of what's to come. And I think we have to sometimes recognize very early and not go into dating with the hopes of what could be. And if this one doesn't work, then nothing's going to work. You have to go into it with a mindset that, you know what, if this doesn't work, if there's no connection, or if there's something about this person that's just not clicking, and maybe it's not clicking with me, for them, then move on. Like, I am not going to fight with you to talk. I'm not going to insert myself in a conversation, because that's who you are. So me fighting to get a word in, that's me fighting for the rest of my life to get a word in. I for that. Because I like to talk too.
Man, listen. And you like to share ideas, you know, and I think that's a part of. So let me ask this question then, Dr. Ian Simone. If you go on a date, could somebody just be nervous and they ramble?
Oh, yeah. They could ramble easily, but I think you could tell the difference between, and maybe if you really like them too, you could tell when somebody's nervous or doing those little quirky things versus somebody who just is really obsessed with themselves. And I can think back of going on times and I didn't say anything, or reflecting on the fact that they didn't ask me any questions. Like, I was asking all the questions, being inquisitive, and the person wasn't doing the same. And it was like, I need reciprocity. If I'm not getting that, you know what? I'm gonna just pack up my bundle. I'm done. Yeah.
I like it. All right. Next one.
All right. So what are we on? Yeah, number 8. Don't alter who you are to fit what you think your love interest wants or needs. When you alter who you are to portray what others value and not your own, you attract people you never really were supposed to attract in the first place. And so you're already starting out on a deficit. But do present yourself authentically. And I think especially as you get older, you realize you don't have as much energy anyway to pretending like this is me. it is what it is. Some days I'm nice, some days I'm moody. You know, you get a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have called me a Sour Patch Kid, which is fine. But which flavor do you like? Because can you take it or can you not?
Say, which flavor do you like? I like that one.
What do you like? And I tell people all the time, it's when you really get to know yourself and you come into your own, some people are for you and some people just aren't for you. And it doesn't mean that things have to be mean or bad or whatever else. But at the end of the day, like, I like me, so you can like me too, or you could choose not to like me, but that's okay. And we could just spread our ways. But don't go pretending. I remember I had a client, I had to have this whole conversation. And it was a guy and who was just pretending like they had all of this money and they had all of these things going for them because they thought they needed to present that foot. And I was like, when this woman find out, this could be a problem.
Oh, wow.
I said, this is not going to go well. And he was like, but Doc, I really no, this is not going to go well. I think you need to be honest about who you are. And of course, they wanted to kind of keep up with the Joneses. And eventually she found out. And of course, she was more upset that
he lied.
Status. It was about the lie. It was like, I don't know. I like that part. I don't know if I like you because I don't even know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's big.
So
that's huge. Okay, hold on. See, so now you got me thinking, okay, I wasn't even expecting that one. You're right. I wasn't expecting that angle, right? Because I know of women, friends of mine, who would just become whomever they're dating, right? Is that similar to what you're saying here? Like, we go on a date, you like this, I like this, or is it just on the initial date, I started making up all kind of stories? Is that it?
It's more the second one. You're making up all kind of stories. You're over presenting yourself, and so naturally, when you're in a relationship with somebody else, you're going to start to do some things that are different from what you would normally do. I call that the part of the seeing how well we mesh together. We work well. If you have an activity, I'm going to probably try it out to see if I like it or not. And you will do the same for my activities, right? Maybe we figure out those are just singular activities, and we can find this new activity we both like to do together. That's natural. People do that. Now, if you're losing your complete self because you need to make yourself fit for this person, I could think of females I know who will literally stop dressing certain ways because they dating people. Who will start to talk certain ways because they're dating this type of person, or even act. I don't know if you've ever been around your friends when you're like group dating, right? And I remember I went on a double date one time with my friend and her person, and I was like, "Who are you?" I literally had sat at the table. I was so like thrown off because I was talking about a story and cracking a joke that we will normally like. This is fine. This isn't inappropriate. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like caution. And I'm like, I said, "Are you okay?" Like twice. Do I need to rescue you? Or is this a get out moment? And then afterwards, I was like, what's going on? Like, if this is who you need to be with this person, this don't make no sense.
It's not sustainable. What are your thoughts there, Simone?
I totally agree with that. And I'm like so guilty, like early on. And this was one of the things actually after I got divorced, I had to go on this whole self-discovery thing because I literally made myself into the person that my ex-husband wanted, and so it's a dangerous place to be, and it almost comes from a couple of things, right? I mean, we are kind of taught to be, especially as women, taught to be submissive, and it's whatever your husband wants, and so when you are conditioned that way, you're not prepared to stand on your own as an individual, as an equal partner in a relationship. That's completely different. Mm-hmm. So I found myself it was more like a parental relationship, asking permission a lot and, being criticized a lot. And so my dress changed. The same thing that she said, everything. I changed how I dressed. I always looked, dowdy. Just trying to tone it all down and be this respectful person and all of that stuff. Maybe that's why I'm a little wild now, right?
I
But I
love
mean,
it.
it's a dangerous place to be because you lose yourself. You lose your essence. You don't know who you are. So I had to go on this path of who am I? What do I really like? What do I really want? That's different and separate from this other person. And so I love the way that Dr. Miles Monroe would teach about singleness and relationships. And he would say that, we all ought to come to the relationship as 100%, not 50-50,
That's
trying to
right.
create a 100%, coming as a whole person, showing up in this relationship, knowing who you are, being proud of who you are, being open to change, and meeting this person as a whole individual rather than pretending. Because at the end of the day, I think this is why a lot of relationships don't work. They wake up the next morning, they're like, who is this person? I don't know you. This is not the person I was dating.
Yeah.
And we use that to kind of trap people into marriage, and then, it falls apart.
Because you can't sustain that. You can't sustain it. I mean, at some
No.
point, and it's exhausting, right? It's
It is.
exhausting trying to keep up with that lie. And it really, that's what it is at the beginning. The lie that you tell at the beginning, like the first lie. I'm single. You know you married, but treat you right. Watch that lie.
Listen, I went out with a guy, the Haja, and you always just aware now, when you're older, right? So we're out having this meal and everything, whatever, and I just look at his left hand, right? And when you have been married for a long time, it leaves that tan and that indentation. And I saw this hand, and I was like, what is this about? Right? And then, like, at the end of the evening and everything, well, I have something I need to tell you. Like, do you now?
And that was it. At the end of the day.
That was what we're going through a rough patch and all. So if you're going through a rough patch, you still got that thing there.
A rough patch. Okay, see, now hold on. Let's go there. Can I go there? Dr. E, you ready to go there? Because let's go there. Okay? What is this? What line is this? What is this line? I'm married, but we're going through a rough time. Are you not still married? The but is like, is that a permission to like cheat? We going through a rough time, but?
I'm confused by that, because if you are married, if you're going through a rough patch, you're still married, unless you guys have decided that you are no longer going to pursue the marital relationship and you're separated or you're divorcing. You're still married. Like there are no breaks in marriage. Like, I don't really understand that. So if you're married and y'all going through something, you're still married.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, to be fair, maybe they had a conversation about the fact that it's okay to have a break baby because, we're on a break. And
I need that in writing.
That child, when you return to this relationship, I'm just saying, that
needs to be in writing, though. That needs to be in writing. I need the contract with the wife and the husband. And then when he goes out, he can say, see, it's a signature. You won't call out. This is it. We are on a break. Because, these brothers and sisters, too. We in a rough patch, but what that got to do with the price of tea in China? You're cheating. You're ready to cheat.
See, and you just said it. They've said it in a way that makes them feel good about the decisions that they're making, and that's protecting their ego, right? It's protecting their sense of self. So if we tell ourselves the lie long enough, we believe it. What I'm doing and I did during this time is not cheating. All I did was, we weren't together or we were going through something and I'm just going out with this person. Doesn't mean anything. But let me just say this. Anything you can do, I can do better. And so how would you feel if I did the same thing?
Ooh,
come on now.
I mean, hey, now you throw that ISO down. You just throw
it's chilling now.
Hello. All right. What's the next one? This is a good show.
All right. Don't complain about your lack of luck with love or blame your country for it. We saying like, Bahamas fault. Ain't no dating scene in the Bahamas. Do keep in mind, though, that dating isn't for everybody. No matter where you live, sometimes it's You could say it's the location, and maybe the singles, the couples, or people in jail, or even under the weather. But the bottom line, a lot of it is attitude, right? You're more likely to create, and this, I always talk to this, but create the energy and bring those people towards you that you want to be a part of.
So I can't blame COVID. You don't blame COVID.
I'm still waiting for somebody to give me an insight into how I contact Netflix, because I would love to pitch them a dating app idea through the device. But you got to get outside, because I've been trying to date through Netflix and nobody's showing up. So you cannot date through that. You have to actually get out there too. If you're saying you're dating, that's all I'm putting out there.
Netflix and chill.
First of all, we can't be going to people's houses. They have COVID and they're nasty. So one of the things we have to realize is that you're going to have to either, in the COVID pandemic, if you're not feeling safe going out, you may have to get yourself an apps. You also need to tell your friends that you're dating and interested, because believe it or not, your friends come across people who, and sometimes they're better judges of character than you are. They can put matches together, or even just say, like someone said to me the other day, I know somebody, but just know you and blaming me. I'm blaming you because you just introduce us. It's up to us if we actually make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, at the end of the day, realize that we live, and the Bahamas is made up of more than Nassau and Freeport. Let's just say that. Have you traveled to the out islands? Because there are some different types of gentlemen there, and different type of ladies there. So before you say the Bahamas,
why do you say it like that? Different type of ladies and gentlemen.
I know. I mean, like, I know someone recently who met somebody that, like dating in Nassau versus dating in other places is different. I'll just say that.
Different. Okay. All right. I hear you. All right. So then my thing is now, let's go to this, because that's a good point, right? This idea, and Simone, I want to get your thoughts on what Dr. E said. Dr. E, give me that point again so I can write it down. Don't blame people for your location or something.
Yeah, so don't just say it's your bad luck. A lot of people just say, oh, I just don't have, I'm unlucky at dating, right? And they blame stuff like, well, I'm just not in the right city, or I'm just not in the right town. This is why this can't happen. I'm saying you can't blame the country on your poor dating choices.
So I can't blame Menace.
No. Well, hold on.
Or the PLP, the last group. I can't blame, because some things just feel easy. I feel like I should. The competent authority did it. And so the emergency orders just screwed up my life. No? All right.
I would have hoped it to stop the sweet outing, but anyway. So do not blame anybody. Don't blame this country for your lack of dating. Okay? We can't blame the country. We can't blame it on bad luck.
Hold on, man. Y'all single though. Let me know. I feel like the story ain't real, because all I hear is people say, this ain't making no sense dating in the Bahamas. There ain't no good woman, no good man, or who, if you got a single dude, he ain't serious, or they got all these issues. Simone, listen, Simone, please, because don't let these young people try to swing us, yeah?
I don't agree with that. I mean, I agree with Dr. E's point. I do not agree that we can blame our location, because there are, in spite of the negative things that we see here and experience, there are wonderful people here. First of all, I think a lot of times, and I heard a few of the earlier points that Dr. E made, and because of our preferences or these unrealistic desires, maybe is more accurate to say, we overlook a lot of people who we could be dating, because we have this checklist to say, I don't want somebody with this. I don't want somebody living here. I don't want somebody who don't have degrees. I don't want this, or I don't want somebody who has children. Well, then you could be Xing out an amazing person just off one superficial reason. So that to me is a primary reason why we miss out in our own location. And secondly, we are in a global society. I have met some amazing people online.
I'm watching you.
Not from a dating site or anything. I'm talking about, LinkedIn, professional
watching you
connections and things like that, and forming great friendships and possibilities. I mean, you have to be careful, very careful. But at the same time, don't limit yourself to what you see in your immediate surroundings.
You can be the
open.
light.
You know, sometimes people will say that, boy, I ain't dating nobody. I only dating the Bahamian. I ain't dating nobody from the Caribbean or American or Africa or whatever like that, you know? And so you miss out then. Miss out.
I know one of the things that I thought was so cool during the early part of the pandemic was when I think it was Tinder that took off the location parameters. And I had a client who was doing it that way. And they were able to, and I guess you could pay for it otherwise, but they were able to like meet so many different people. They didn't just have to date. They were here, but they just didn't have to date people here. And so you have to think outside the box. What are parameters you're setting on your dating profile? Are you interested in dating people outside of your geographical location? Are you in groups or parts of different communities that put you meeting people around the globe? When you go out for drinks, it's the difference between if you go into the local bar or you go into, let's say, some of the exclusive places far out west, right? Mm-hmm. So we know there's going to be a different caliber of people. So it puts you in different environments. So let's not blame our lovely archipelago for the reason why you having bad luck. Maybe it's the fact that you have carry-on luggage, a past history of negativity that is being blamed. Maybe that's really what the issue is. You are in a space where you can't accept or even look for other people. Maybe it's the fact that you put yourself in places that only couples go, right? Mm-hmm. We know that there are certain places that are going to be more prone to families or couples. Are you putting yourself where singles may occupy these spaces? So I think I have both single male clients and single female clients. And I told them, I said, I just wish some days I could just, one of these days, pandemic, like if it calms down, I'm going to just do a mixer. Because
and at least, you know, all of them had therapy.
Right? Right?
Now I have to bring some sprinkles in, because how else we can have fun if we don't bring the ones who ain't had no therapy? You know, you got to sprinkle.
So bring a little broken and damaged still in and unfixed, just to add a little bit of spice.
I think that's an important point that Dr. E made, and going into environments. And, you know, you never know, you may meet somebody in the local bar too. But I think it's important to get out of your comfort zone. Like a lot of the people that I work with are challenged with speaking up and just showing up and being present and talking to people that you don't know, like going and initiating a conversation. And it doesn't mean that you're just walking up to people randomly or whatever. You may be, as you mentioned, it may be a cocktail reception for a civic organization. They're having some event or their regular meeting. Why not sit next to somebody that you don't know? Mm-hmm. Why not stand in a group with people that you don't know? Introduce yourself. Get in and have a regular conversation. And that's how things get sparked. That's how things start. When you start to listen to someone, I remember connecting with someone like that, who's now a really great friend. But that's how we connected. We were actually in the same WhatsApp group and never, ever interacted with each other. And then somehow, you know, there's always some conversation that gets initiated in those groups. And then everybody has an opinion. Mm-hmm. And so we just started going in there, dropping in opinions. And then we started private messaging, like, can you believe that? And it just started off that way. You know, I mean, so you never know how things happen. But if you don't engage, if you continue to be this wallflower and hiding from life and from people and from rejection and all these other things, and you miss out. You just miss out.
You know, you said just hiding and wallflower. All I think about is when you remember them school dances and people used to hug the wall.
Lining on the wall.
Just line up on the wall. Just line up on the wall. I feel
longing. I wish somebody would ask me to dance.
You just gotta dance with yourself, man. Just enjoy your moment. Just enjoy being you and being unafraid. Just, you know, fear is real, and courage doesn't happen without fear, right? Yes. In order to be courageous, fear has to be present. It just means taking that one step and saying, I see this thing, but I'm bigger than this moment. I want something different. And one of the things you know, Simone, you know this. I believe that your friendship, Simone and our friendship is a result of me saying I need a different circle. Mm-hmm. Like I always look for different circles of friends, right? How do you get those different circles? You got to step out of your comfort zone. You got to do something different. And some folks, I believe, listen, just join a club, just join a Rotary, join this, whatever. Increase it, do Toastmasters. If you're afraid of public speaking, do something like that. And you will be surprised the people you'll meet who are in these different spaces and places, who share different stories. Just do something different. And that something different can be a healthy something. Now, not a bad, different, unhealthy thing. But
I joined a Toastmasters club in Atlanta.
But
because everybody's doing everything virtually.
Yeah.
I said I want to be in a different space, a different environment. Hello.
That was smart.
Hello.
That was strategic.
That was strategic. You see that, Dr. E, you see the smart woman? Simone is a limitless life coach.
But I told that to one of my clients. I said, and they were going to join one of those organizations. And I said, why, instead of joining the ones here, since everything is virtual right now, join the networks outside and see what happens. And they did it. So I think I like that strategy.
I like it. Let's go. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will be joined again with Simone Bowe, Dr. Edrika Richardson. We're talking about dating do's and don'ts. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. We're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Dr. E, Dr. Edrika Richardson. Y'all know we always have a good time with Dr. E. We're talking about dating do's and don'ts. Special guest joining us, Simone L. Bowe, all the way from somewhere on the Family Islands today. I just love when Simone is just, it's always an honor and a privilege. So hard to tie her down and get her on the show, but she's always just a joy to chat with. My good friends, Dr. Edrika Richardson and Dr. Simone L. Bowe. What's up? Y'all look good.
Now.
Y'all look good, boy. Y'all look good.
Exclusivity, you know, boy, you in these exclusive relationships.
I'm glad you. I believe in these. I believe in committed relationships. I like exclusivity. I like it.
You like it?
I ain't a poly woman. I ain't a poly woman. I ain't a poly.
You know, I don't even know anymore. I'll just say that because, some days you want to be one way and then some days you want to be the other.
You switch up. You ain't lie. It's
hard. It's hard to say, yeah.
Honestly,
committed is great. But
you might want some cheddar and some brie. You might want something on that cracker.
Hello. So anyway, see, let me go to this last one. So Jonathan just abandoning us then. Okay.
Jonathan just abandoned us. We're on the last segment. Now he pops up.
I hope he heard this. This is why we don't be paying attention to these men because they just so unreliable. I can't wait for him to come on and say
Jonathan, did you hear the shade that is being thrown your way? Can he hear us now? He's smiling now. We're gonna bring Jonathan Edgecombe on, who shows up like 40 hours way past the time.
He had to get her out. I know.
He didn't want to leave, Eddie. She didn't want to leave.
First of all, she wasn't supposed to sleep over in the first place.
And now he can't get her out the house. What a time. Dating do's and don't, Johnny. She should have known that she needed to leave by a certain time. What is wrong with you, man?
I was actually just doing some chores with my daughter. We went to the barber shop. Well, for real, I was at the barber shop and just, doing Sunday chores.
That's what he's calling it. Now that's what he's calling it, Dr.
She missed curfew.
I know. I needed to drop her home. She was so young. Anyway, let's.
I don't even know what I stepped into just now. I don't know what. It's like I'm getting ambushed.
That's good. That's what you get for being late.
Exactly.
All right, we're on our last segment, Johnny, and we're talking about dating do's and don'ts. We've got Dr. Drika Richardson, Simone Elbow, and of course our good friend Jonathan Edgecombe. John, we have hit on a lot of big points that I would have loved your thoughts on, but we're on the last one, and we're gonna get thoughts on it as well. But Dr. E, last point.
Okay, number 10. Don't stop pursuing new hobbies or other experiences just because you found a partner. Be cautious of giving up or limiting your time you spend doing things for you, whether it's exercise, going to the beach, cooking, spending time with your friends. Do practice balancing you with the couple time. So I know in the very beginning of a lot of relationships, what tends to happen is that if you're a good friend, you know this, you automatically need to take a step back while your friend kind of gets their relationship foundation, I think, solidified. And I tell people that if you don't have friends who get jealous, oh my gosh, we can talk about that. Friends who get jealous when you start dating and they're like, well, you choosing them over me? No, you're supposed to be grown enough to realize that your friend needs some time to, I call it solidifying the foundation of that new relationship, because our relationship already secure. So there should not be an issue. There's not a competition. Right. But a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll exclusively go into a relationship and they'll forget everything they like to do. They conform again to the relationship. So don't stop exercising, because let me tell you, personally liked you in the first place because you had that nice little shape thing, right? And so, or those muscles, those pectorals, and all of a sudden now it turned into a bare belly. That ain't cute. Nobody into that. So what we're saying is that you have to keep doing those things that made you you. That was the reason the person was attracted to you in the first place. Your authenticity, those hobbies and things that maybe
that chicken sauce used to cook.
You know what, Jonathan?
Do I detect shade?
I know, but I can cook, and I can cook chicken sauce, even though I don't eat it, and it's damn good. Anyway, so
how you know you don't eat it?
Because when I used to cook it, and the people I still cook it for greatly appreciate it.
Ooh, the people I still cook it for.
Okay, all right.
I guess they didn't really want to tell us it. Boy, this one tastes right, but I don't want to stop cooking it.
You know what?
Let my Dr. E finish her thoughts. You shady lake man.
You don't want to keep going the shade, okay? Because at least I can reach the stove. Those little young girls can't reach the stove. Anyway. Jonathan just have to go back and forth. That's the only way this works.
This is starting to feel like a reality show. I love it.
I love it. I'm just here. Hey Simone, I'm just here for the credits. I just want to know
where's the popcorn.
All I'm saying is that those things that were you things, don't forget all of those things when you start dating. Sometimes we have a tendency to let all of us go to be in the relationship. But remember, it took you being you to be building and be a part of this new relationship. That's all I'm saying. Figure out how to balance it all.
I like that. All right, John, I'll let you go. Your thoughts on that? Staying you.
No, I agree. I think as it relates to the friends, a lot of the guys who got put in the friend zone, they could attest to this right now. When before she had a boyfriend, they would want to change all the propane tanks, or change when she wanted her tie to be changed. He would be the first to call. But now that she got mine now, she forget him. So and they tend to go crazy. So I agree. You should not lose yourself. Or in relationships. I see a lot of women and men tend to lose themselves and morph into one individual. So when breakup day come, they go crazy because they lost who they was as an individual and morphed into one person. So surprisingly, I agree with Dr. E on that.
Simone, don't lose yourself in the relationship, John. I don't know what. Let's just say Jonathan's so petty. Say surprisingly, I agree. Don't lose yourself. What are your thoughts on that? I think it's a straightforward one. Don't lose yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a tendency to do that, especially when you really, really want this relationship. You want it to work. You're thinking about all the mistakes of the past and all this other stuff. And so you just get immersed in this new thing. But at some point, that separation is going to come again. And not a separation of breaking up, but a separation of individuality. where, this is great and I'm loving this whole honeymoon phase, but I really want to get back to my stuff that I was doing before. Right.
Yeah,
And I want to explore this whole thing a bit more about, especially people who are purposeful and purpose driven and being able to date, because their first love is really the thing that they love
to do.
Their purpose, the thing that they love to do. And sometimes that can become competitive. And I'm talking about competing between relationship and purpose, like feeling like you have to put one down for the other. So I think that when you are dating, it isn't just about the attraction, the chemistry, and all of that. It should also incorporate your personal vision and purpose. So you don't have to feel like I need to choose. It should be that we're complementary and not necessarily that you need to be a part of what I'm doing. Like, so for instance, Dr. E has to date another therapist. I don't think that's the case. I can be supportive of you just by saying you do you and do you well. When you host that mixer, I'll be there for you. And what do you need me to do? Man the parking lot, bring the food. Like, what do you need me to do? That to me is support. It doesn't mean that I have to be doing the same thing.
But that's where balance needs to come into play, though. Sometimes what happens, though, because I see you so passionate about your vision, not me, but people tend to fall back a little bit because they don't want to feel like, they infringing on the other person. And so they fall back from their purpose, which you need to draw balance because Simone, Dr. E, you guys might be so passionate about what you're doing. And me, as someone who may be dating one of you guys, may say, but I don't really want to go hard with my thing, is because we might be two ships passing in the wind, and this is where balance is to be drawn. Because if I go hard at what I'm doing and you go hard at what you're doing, we might not even see each other, and so this is where we have to balance each other out. Essentially, that's how I feel. No, yes.
That's a
good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. What? Hold on, that's powerful. Both of them agree. So, because I think it's a great point.
She may can't cook chicken sauce, but she agreeing. That's good.
Let me ask you this: do you scald your water before?
Do you scald your chicken?
Yeah, I clean the skin off and I scald it 3 times.
Lies. You don't scald the chicken. Nobody scalds the chicken.
That's overcooking the chicken.
Nobody scalds. You can't even lie. But scald it 3 times.
Thank you. And we were talking about hot cooking chicken sauce, not me chicken.
That's why I asked you that question. I know what I'm doing. Like, first of all, you said 3 times. The chicken is cooking hard. You can throw it at your head. And
Simone, I don't know about you, but I feel as if we are on a reality show, and these two may have had a ship pass in the wind.
It seems like
those hulls might have touched. You never know.
No.
Let's do that.
I'd be curious. I don't know over time if I'm going to go back over the list because I'm just curious to hear his point on some of these, since he was so early to the presentation that
let's start at the top.
We'll start at the top, so we'll give everybody a chance to comment. So the first don't convince yourself you have only one type. Do widen your definition of a compatible mate. What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
Say that again.
Don't convince yourself you have only one type. Do widen your definition of a compatible mate.
Yes.
I agree with that.
I totally agree.
I typecast myself before and pigeonhole myself in a situation. But anyhow, we didn't get too much personal, but yeah, I agree.
Well, that's what you want to show for. You're supposed to
I know. I really want to know now. What does that mean? What was
the pigeonhole?
No, in terms of a physical type, as men, we are visual, so I was going for a physical type opposed, and anything else that did not fit that criteria, I wasn't even paying attention. I was a bit shallow back when I was back in the day. So I don't know why you open your eye big like that for.
Which one, me? Oh, E.
Dr. E.
Why are you studying me? That's the question.
Simone, your thoughts? Well, of course, you say you agree. I think, but that's a safe one. That we don't pigeonhole ourselves. It's more than one. I think it takes maturity to get to that space, though.
Yeah, I agree.
And like you said, said before, E, that we have that with the non-negotiables that we say earlier. We set those. Yeah.
Right. And so remember we talked about the dating, the one with kids. So how does that fit in there, Jonathan?
I'm gonna need to feed their dog.
So what? You should come in this yard and see what that
Okay, I'm losing control of the room. Losing control of the room. The show is going rogue. But the dog does sound hungry. I will throw that out there. Right? Simone, yeah, the non-negotiables. I saw you move your shake your head.
The one point I wanted to add is about women have been a stickler for height. I've heard a lot of women, because I'm not,
You're vertically challenged.
I'm not 6 foot, but a lot of women said I can't date a man who was whatever short, and I would say that's super shallow, and I had to learn to say that's their preference, But and Ducky was saying something about kids. That's something I had to mature on, dating women with kids. So that's that's something
that's struggling with that one.
I'm struggling with that because a lot of stuff come with that. It's not only dating a woman with kids. You don't have a time. You don't have her attention as it should be. You'll never be first. Then you may have baby daddy drama. So then you may have rude kids. You don't want to deal with no rude kids. So I mean that's why it's something you struggle with as a man, and financially they could be a liability to you too. Amen.
Yeah, well, amen. I mean, that's a lot. You ain't lying there. Okay, let me ask this before we go any further, because there's something I wanted to get the four of you on for. Let's talk about this. How difficult is it? And this was I think this was number 9 with us, Dr. E, where you say, don't blame, actually that might be number 10, don't blame people for the location, right? Don't blame your lack of dating based on location and whatnot. I'm curious, how do folks date in the Bahamas? That's where I'm curious. Like, how y'all date? Is it, just circles? Is it work related? What does dating look like today? Because
all of the above. All of the above. Everything you just say. Social circles, going out, your social life, pretty much. I believe you could meet your partner anywhere, church, anywhere. So.
Well, how are people dating I'm lost. I've been hearing stuff like Clubhouse. I thought that was Mickey Mouse. I literally thought it was just Disney. I'm on Clubhouse. And it's like, why are y'all doing Disney stuff? Like, what is wrong with y'all pervs? Then I realized it's like a space, right?
Yeah, it's a platform, yeah. A lot of people are turning to social media because they're so busy. I mean, I don't judge. I mean, that's ideal for you. That's ideal for you. But I have a lot of friends who have turned to social media because in their private life, they may not go, especially after COVID. A lot of people have conformed to staying home as much, and that's not really a good thing. But because it's better to put yourself, to go out to meet people. But I mean, social media is a different platform on different avenue to meet. So a lot of female friends, because they feel like they're being harassed, they prefer to be met or use social media. Guys are more aggressive. We tend to go out and hunt. So I mean, for a lot of females, I know the social media. They use the Tenders, the Bumble. Don't use Tag, stuff like that.
Tag? What is Tag?
What's Tag? I don't know that one either.
Tag, TAGGED. Don't use that. I said.
What is it?
I never even heard of it.
What is it?
It's just another platform, but it's more transactional situations on that particular website. Amen.
I don't know amen for me. I know nothing about that side. I know nothing about the side. You ain't gonna get me to say amen. You think you slick. I ain't gonna amen that. What you doing on Tag? You doing some transactions?
No. I because I'm in the social sphere, I tend to try to know everything as it relates to social stuff and whatever.
Can't even get the word properly. Like if you could tell the story, I would need you to get it right first.
Practice the story first, eh? Practice in the mirror, man.
I'm just being honest here.
So you gotta practice in the mirror. You get that story straight. You gotta have a straight face when you tell the story. Look at yourself and get that story down. Because I think if you had last bits of advice you would want to give folks who are dating, right? Like things like a pitfall, even that, just pitfalls in dating that you've experienced. Simone, I'll start with you. What are some of the pitfalls after your divorce? Going back into the dating scene, what was that like?
One pitfall is not spending time with yourself after a breakup. and just taking a break from dating. So running into becoming a serial dater or, a relationship junkie,
Mhm.
I think is a pitfall. And it's a mechanism to avoid dealing with your stuff. Just assessing the relationship, what worked, what didn't work, what was your part in it. I think taking personal responsibility and accountability for your part in a relationship and what didn't go well, how you want to show up differently, who are you, all of those things were things that I had to deal with. Again, moving past shutting people out or allowing pain to drive you. So, to Jonathan's point, overlooking people that may not meet a particular preference, right? And so you may say, yeah, I want a tall guy, but it's the shorter guy that really is the one you connect with. So throw all of that stuff out of the window and just be you, be authentic, be open to what love could be, and just love unconditionally. Not stop trying to change people and fix people and be fake and all of those other games that we play. Just show up real.
Jonathan?
From a male perspective, investing too much too soon. That could be financially, your time, your energy, um, because you haven't, like back to what Simone was saying, you haven't healed properly or allowed yourself to heal properly. So what you do is, as a man, you try to slot someone in too quickly, and so you overinvest. Like, you start talking to the female, and she said, oh Lord, I need mortgage or my bill, and then you start investing too much of your money 2 times too soon. Um, and what happens is, uh, then you get slotted in the friend zone, and you out a couple $100. So the pitfall I would tell men is reel it back, reel it back. Just because someone suggested or hinted to you that, hey boy, here's the line here, Natasha, this is the line here, it's the line for women. You'll call a young lady, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm not doing too good. Why are you doing too good? Boy, this BC builders do. And then so the next obvious line is, how much is it? And then you may have just talked to this young lady for a day or so, and the bill that situation comes up. And so I tell guys, take your time. You don't want to be a conk. You don't want to be someone take you as to use you financially. So take your time and see if she's truly interested in you. That's from a male perspective.
I like it, Dr. E.
I have some questions because I've started to find out that Jonathan has really spent some money in his relationship.
Yes, I like him.
The level of financial hurt is real.
Hold on.
Why I can't find some dudes who would spend money like that?
Hold on.
Where are the counts? Where are they? Okay, because
are there king counts about?
There's some conks out there. And turbans out there. Some conks out there.
What's a turbans? That's a new thing.
If you are willing to be a conk, please send mail
to the doctor.
Because
but that's
I'm gonna need a conk.
But that's derived from the indoctrination. I wouldn't say indoctrination. That's derived from being taught that as men you be providers. So that what happens is it spills over when you don't take your time and get to know the person. And that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with helping and providing for a woman, but you got to be careful on who you provide for, or you be broke. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so a lot of what you said is connected to finances. So I'm really curious. Do men bring other stuff to dating besides their financial acumen?
Of course, but in this society, a man usually, at least from a male perspective, men are valued or seem to be valued based on their financial status or how much they can provide for a woman. And I'm not saying that's right or I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I mean, most men, most women make men feel that, but if you can't do nothing for me, what's the use? Why are you here? Mm-hmm. How are you adding to me? And if you talk to most, I just came from the barber shop, and I can tell you, it's more for men. It's more financial what women look for, and I think you guys, if you talk to more men, you will see that a lot of men feel their primary value in a relationship is how much they could financially help a woman out. I'm
Well,
not saying if that's right or wrong, but it's
Jonathan
true.
on that.
yeah, I agree with him because we were saying that something even earlier,
Mhm.
Jonathan, before you came on,
Mhm.
really saying, okay, well, listen, men should understand that women look at, are you able to take care of them? Even if I'm able to take care of myself, are you still
Mhm.
able to partner with us, be a part of this relationship financially?
Right.
And personally, for me, I could tell you, it wasn't as my husband and I, we started off with the same amount of money. I just knew, ride or die, the security was going to be there. He was
Mm.
going to be able to carry us, not by himself financially, but carry us in a way where I trust his financial leadership, his financial acumen, where I trust that he wouldn't gamble away our resources, that when we spent, it would be family first. And so I think that that's the mindset there. But if we go on a date, boo, you ask me on a date, you pay it. There ain't no question. All right, that's a non-negotiable, and you got to be able to pay for a couple of dates in a row because I need to make sure
You
you
know,
still got money.
but sadly, if you see, sadly, even if you ask a guy on a date, most men will still pay.
Yeah,
Most men will still pay. I mean, so men. That's why I said, see, we look at things financial. That's why I said when it comes to kids and dating women with kids, automatically in the mind we start calculating, we start budgeting because
I
we
feel you.
know right from the back it can be money coming out of our pocket. Women may not look at it that way because you guys usually don't come out of the pocket until little ways down the road in the relationship and say, okay, okay, this guy, okay, me, I'll
Yeah,
help out or whatever. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. So for
yeah.
men from right off the bat, we then calculate and budget it. That's why everything is financial initially
I
for
feel
men.
you. I
Mhm.
think you're right because, buddy, children ain't cheap, and especially if they ain't
Mm.
yours. I'm sure that woman is anticipating you're gonna help with her children at some point in the
Trust
relationship.
me, they
If she
all
doesn't have the necessary income to take care of them all on her own, and that's a
what,
whole other
what
kettle of fish and a different
what does
show.
she have you around for? Why are you there?
Well, see, and I don't believe in that. Listen, my children are my children. I need to be able to take care of my children on my own. I should not be looking for someone else to come in and
I
rescue my
agree.
children.
I
Right.
totally agree
And
with
so
you.
that's a mindset you have to look for. I think men have to look for that too. Because you
Mhm.
want brothers, you should be looking for a woman who can handle her own business when it comes to her and her children. Right.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
don't know. We have to do this show, Dr. E, Simone, and Jonathan will have to do that show too about what should be the expectations of mothers or parents with their kids when you're talking about dating.
Mhm.
Mm.
Dating as a parent, right? Or what are the expectations? What should be discussed when you start to date? To the other person. What are your expectations of the other person when it comes to your kids? When should you introduce your children to someone you're dating? When that man's supposed to sleep over or a woman sleep over and you're just sleeping over? Like, how
I
does
have
that affect
a.
the children?
I think I should introduce my daughter to you, and first, not too long after we start talking. Because what if I been dating Dr. E for for 3 months, and I introduced my daughter, and I realized they don't have a chemistry, they don't get along. I wasted 3 months because essentially most parents most times gonna go with their kids, or
You
especially
crazy boy.
women.
I don't believe that.
Hold on, hold on,
What?
hold on, hold on. So you said
No
if my
way.
kid, if, hold
Go
on, my
on.
kids don't get, hold on, my kids don't get along. Yeah. So you're saying your kids don't get along with the new dude, and they just have a abrasive relationship. Eventually, that could do something to you as a mother. You don't think so?
Well, of course, but I think there's some things I think you do first. First of all, you have to determine before you bring that person. You don't want to be the parent who always bringing shuffling someone in and out. That's just my thing. You don't want to be that parent
Mm,
who's shuffling people in and out because then to your children, no one is serious, right?
mm,
If you're serious about someone, you take the time, you keep them separate, and you make sure that this person is compatible because they're going to marry you or they're dating you. They know
mm,
your children are important to you. You make sure that's a statement at the top of the show. These are critical people in my life. And you get to know that person. If that person is worth knowing deeper, then you introduce them to your children. And your children will place a value on that person based on the fact that daddy never brings people around. This person might be serious. Daddy might be serious with this. And children are emotional. If you and your daughter have always been together, only daddy and daughter, as soon as you bring something, you think she ain't gonna find that as a problem? There's another woman in her life. So then if you bring now this woman is important to you, this is just in my estimation. If she's important to you, you express that importance to your daughter. And y'all sit down privately, you and your daughter's daddy and daughter, you discuss it and y'all figure out this is how I'd like for you to meet her, and this is who she is. And after a few encounters or time together, you see if they're compatible. You watch how this woman interacts with your child and see if you like it or you don't like it. But I think that you just, because the children don't like them right away, that ain't the standard for me. Children crazy.
No, not right away, but I mean, it's going on for a little while and still this
yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
I
don't need. There's too many women out there. I don't need you. I'd rather get rid of the women to get rid of the kids.
I like that. Look, did Simone's nostril just flare? Dr. E just did a whole thing. All right, Simone, last words. And we got to go. Last word, Simone.
I don't even know what to say after that.
I'd rather get too much women out there. Just like so expendable.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what you always be dealing with, though. That's the question. I mean, like, that probably needs to be another type show.
We have to do a show on that one. We definitely need to do a show on that. But listen,
how do we connect? How does all the quote unquote good people connect?
Whoa, the dog be.
That's all
saying women
connecting right now. That's all connecting right now.
We have to do a part 2. Hold the thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. We have to go. Let's do a part 2 on the same very topic. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Everyone, this is part 1, dating, the do's and don'ts. We will have a part 2. Simone Bowe, Jonathan Edgecombe, Dr. E. Thank you guys so much. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.